Give God praise for that gift. Such a gift. Such a gift. St. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 15. A very interesting text as Matthew weaves and interweaves didactic narratives with parables and other types of Jesus' teaching. And he is quite astute at presenting Jesus as King of the Jews. And in Matthew 15, he does something that he told his disciples not to do. And I'll show you, I'll prove that to you, that he got himself in a little trouble because he did what he told his disciples not to do. Matthew 15:21, then Jesus went thence and departed into the coasts of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, it doesn't say to whom he's speaking, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread, to cast it to the dogs. And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Lord have mercy. Now I told you he did something he told his disciples not to do. Because in St. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 5, these 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And let still he is now in Tyre and Sidon. I want you to look at somebody, or just look up to heaven and say, Lord, find a way to bless me. Any way you bless me, I'll be satisfied. You know, I could also preach, make me want to holler and throw up both my hands. In order to grasp this particular text, in order to understand this didactic presentation, this teaching story of Matthew, we literally have to escape the traditional trap if we're going to understand this particular teaching of Matthew. Because many times what we do is we make the cast or the supporting characters the stars. And we miss the fact that the only star in any one of these didactic narratives is Jesus. Because the writer is, and John does it so succinctly, so explicitly, the writer is presenting Jesus in an encounter with circumstances and situations that everybody has to deal with from a day-to-day basis. And yet still sometimes we miss it and we focus on the other characters. For instance, if I may just go there, we spend a lot of time talking about the prodigal son. And when we talk about the prodigal son, of course, we deal with him receiving his inheritance, and we deal with him wasting his inheritance on slow horses and fast women, and his money is gone. And then we turn the other focus on the fellow that's left home. And somehow we treat him with such peculiarity because we ostracize him for not being excited about his brother coming back. And somehow we act as if all of us would just so happily have our brothers back because we say he was backslidden at home. I don't know, have you ever lost a loved one and had to go to the funeral and you spent your money and time taking care of your loved one, mother, when dad, when everybody else was doing their thing, and you get home for the homegoing celebration and everybody's now at the house sitting, trying to enjoy each other because your brother from New York and your cousin from Seattle haven't been around in years, and all of a sudden they come looking to take the stuff that mother left in the house. I don't know if you've ever been there, where folk just come from everywhere. Wouldn't send a dime to help pay the taxes. Wouldn't help change the linen. Didn't comb mother's hair not one time. Every time you say something to them about, oh, we busy. You handle it. That's why you there. Won't send you a dime. But now, when mother's gone, they want the quilt. They want the ring. And mother wanted me to have that watch. You see, now, you're not just going to sit there and just act like everything is cool. You're going to be very disturbed because you did all the work and you helped and you were there when they weren't there, and that is just normal. It was normal for the brother at home who had never left home, who had worked diligently with his stuff and his father's stuff, and his younger brother had taken all of his substance and wasted it. And the younger brother comes back and there's a party going on, and the little fella out there working in the field, brothers, and forget the father. The reason the brother looks so bad when he's normal is because the father's love is so splendiferous in its magnanimity, it makes normal look evil. God can love you so much until people around you are so envious of the love that God has for you that his love makes them look evil. Ooh, I feel it here. In this case, we have to focus on Jesus. Forget that the woman is black. Forget the blackness of the woman, and let us focus on Jesus. Because in this particular narrative, we note and recognize that the humanity of Christ is key to grasping the truth contained in this story. If we're going to get it, then we have to focus on Jesus. To me, I see a smaller Gethsemane experience. In that I mean, I see his humanity wrestling against his divinity as it relates to dealing with the woman. So pardon the ambiguity, if you will, but Jesus is the problem in this scripture. It is not the woman. Certainly she has come, as everyone else has come, with their faith. And I don't know wherever he dishonored faith, he always honored the faith. But the question is, could it be that Jesus is seeking to operate within the parameters of the will of his Father And this woman is pulling him out of what he has been assigned to do. Is it just possible that Jesus, in stepping outside of where he told his disciples not to go outside, has put himself in a situation where they're watching to see, is he going to do for this woman and abort for the moment the plan and the original purpose that God had given? The scripture says that he learned obedience by the things that he suffered. And sometimes suffering is not only external, sometimes suffering is internal. I don't know, have you ever suffered to make a decision? Or have you ever suffered to make a choice? There are some things that you do that you suffer in the choosing, because you literally are caught betwixt two. I don't know how many times you have been caught betwixt two. I have been on the highway many times trying to figure out at 80 miles an hour which way should I be going. And in that instance, it's an internal strife, it's an internal struggle. When you look at Gethsemane, you will see that Christ had an internal struggle on a massive scale because he had to die. But right here, with the purity of his greatness and the purity of his love for God, he is having another struggle here, and that is, how do I deal with this woman? The location, of course, is Tyre and Sidon. And he's in pagan country. Do you remember the Gennesaret pagans? He's in that kind of an environment. And when Matthew sees this, Bruner the professor, and I quote, here's what he says. He says the very adjective Canaanite to all readers of the Hebrew scriptures meant everything dangerous to Israel. Because anytime you have to deal with the people that God gave the land to Israel from, you had to deal with the Jebusites, the Harvites, the Gerbusites. You had to deal with the Philistines, the Moabites. You had to deal with all of the Canaanite people who had their own gods. Don't you remember when Israel went to Canaan, God warned them not to take up the gods of the Canaanites? And didn't he warn them that if you do, then diseases will come upon you because you have strayed from my word? So every time Matthew or any reader of the Hebrew scriptures saw the word Canaanite, they see danger to the faith of Israel. So not only is Jesus in Tyre and Sidon, but now he's being pulled into a millennial struggle for the mission of the Messiah. Oh God, here he comes with his boys, and somehow faith has identified that this is Jesus. It couldn't be that she recognized him because he didn't dress any different from the other disciples. If you remember, when he was being betrayed, Judas said, "The one that I kiss, he's the one." Now, how is it you could walk on water, raise the dead, heal the sick, and nobody can identify you except through a traitor's kiss? You let me walk on a little water around here, let me raise 2 or 3 half-dead folk, and I guarantee you I'd be all over CNN, and I'd go to the ball games, they'd put the camera on me. But Jesus was so nondescript in his power